Hey guys, this is Corkia with BRAIR. We are here with the Carter family today. Today we're going to interview them regarding an incident of racial profiling here in Bexley. Of course, we know that this is an issue, it's been an ongoing issue in this community for some time. And so we are doing our work and due diligence to shine a light on this issue. So today we're going to speak with them about an incident that happened here in Bexley. So we hope that you can open up your eyes and ears and your heart and your mind and listen. So could you guys, can we go one by one and you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Bruce Carter.
I'm Brianna Stewart.
And then I'm Michelle Carter. And then this is Mari Carter.
All right. So, how long have you guys lived in Bexley?
22 years. And the house was purchased August of 1998. And we have raised 3 children through the high school. David Stewart graduated in 2012, Brianna in 2013, and then Andre Stewart in 2015. And Mari Carter is in 2nd grade.
All right. Okay. So how would you describe your time in Bexley since you've lived here?
We live here for the school system,
Okay.
mostly.
Yeah.
We wanted to be inside 270 when we bought a house, and I had looked at Upper Arlington and Worthington, and that wasn't a comfortable area for a multi-ethnic family.
Okay.
And with the high Jewish population in Bexley, I thought perhaps this would be a better place for our family.
Right. Okay. So you picked Bexley for a specific reason.
Right.
Right. Okay. Brianna, you went to school in Bexley, graduated from Bexley,
Yes.
played basketball in Bexley.
Yes.
I think I saw you play a couple of games.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw you play a couple of games. There was an incident with you where you were stopped by the police a few weeks ago. Can you explain that? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I was walking down Maryland to park with my sister and my son, and I don't remember what street it was. I think it was Drexel, the intersection of Drexel and Maryland. And a cop is going, I think it was east on Maryland, and he stops in the middle of the intersection, in the middle of Drexel and Maryland. And my sister was down the street, and my son was closer to me, but I was uncomfortable because they were distanced from me, so I was worried in getting them close together. And the cop stops and he asks how we were doing, and then if we lived nearby, and I didn't think anything of it. I never thought it would be an issue. So once he drove away after everything was concluded, I didn't feel comfortable going to the park anymore because you have other people walking, and none of them was stopped as I'm watching him go in the opposite direction. So I went home and I told my mom, and I didn't think anything of it as I'm being stopped, but once I got home, it settled in. Oh, was I targeted?
Yeah.
So it's an unsettling feeling.
Yeah. So once you collected yourself, you got back home. Like what was the feeling? Like what were you feeling once you made it back home?
Once I got home, I didn't want to take the kids to the park anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the mood to play. I just felt uncomfortable because I'd never been stopped and asked where I stayed or if I stayed here.
Yeah.
So, but then it was kind of brushed off right after that, because I didn't think it was a major issue.
Yeah.
Him asking me where I was, what I was doing.
So you mentioned that there were other people. These were white people.
Yes,
Right.
there's
So
people riding bikes, walking. They stopped and looked at us. That was uncomfortable. Like, why are all eyes on me right now?
right. And no, none of them were asked.
He
You
did
didn't-
not stop and talk to them at all. It was just me.
Yeah.
So as I'm heading home, watching him drive away, he's driving by this white group, that white group, that white group.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's when I realized,
Yeah.
oh, did I just get something?
Yeah.
So
Now, Michelle, she came home and she told you that. What were your thoughts? Like, what did you think?
So we're a walking family, and typically I would have been on the walk with her, but I had recently broke both of my ankles, so I was incapacitated. So I said, I was angry. We've never been stopped in all the years that we've walked together, the both of us. And why was he choosing my daughter that day? Why was he wanting to see where she lived? I was angry.
Yeah.
She's raised in Bexley. And why does he need to ask her why she's walking through the community? She wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's not a crime.
Mike, were you at home when this happened?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But later that evening, my wife and I discussed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What were your thoughts?
well, the first thing I thought was, since when do you need to belong to a community to walk in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
That was the very first thing that came to my mind. So I knew that they were targeting her
Yeah.
and that she was being racially profiled. Something you never think would happen in Bexley.
Yeah.
Yet it did.
Yeah.
So we were angry
Right.
because it made her feel uncomfortable. They cut their walk short. She came home immediately. So she didn't feel safe. Felt like she didn't belong,
Yeah.
or that there was something wrong with her walking in this neighborhood.
Right.
I had asked Brianna if she got the number off of his truck, and she said no, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And had I been in a better circumstance, I would have gone to the police department and said something, or at least had them come to me. I should have. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, what happens in these situations? I mean, this has happened to me multiple times throughout my life. It's happened to me several times in Bexley. You're not looking for a badge number. You're not looking for a name. You're not looking for anything. It's you're just you're kind of in shock and kind of like in survival mode at that moment because you don't really realize or you don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, I've had encounters with police where they said something, went on about their business, or gave me a ticket and went on about their business. And I've had encounters where I thought I was going to die. So you kind of just want to get out of the situation at that moment. So this happened this particular day. Did you speak with anybody about it?
just our family.
It's the family, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when people ask, well, why didn't you say something, or why didn't you file a complaint, or why didn't you go say something to the police? And you get asked that all the time. Why did you not do that? Or did you go to make a complaint or call the police?
I can tell you why a lot of people don't. Because they're intimidated by the police.
Yeah.
We live in 2 square miles. It takes them no time to figure out where we are, where we live, and if they were going to do anything or make our lives more difficult. We're talking about the police.
Yeah.
So who do you call when the police are the problem? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So that's why people don't take it a step
Yeah.
further in a lot of cases.
So you said that you would have gone to the police, had you been mobile that day. Did you think about any time after that going and saying something to the police?
Sure. Sure I did.
So what was there anything that stopped you from doing that?
Yeah, you don't want to be targeted as being that person that's complaining. I just want our family to be treated like everybody else is that's Caucasian.
Right.
And to have this opportunity to speak out now that we're bringing it to the forefront is because it's a group or a movement, then it's easier. You feel comfortable. You feel safer speaking out under those circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But as an individual, you can run into problems. It's easy to take down an individual.
Right. So we've had a number of people to contact us about being racially profiled in Bexley. Like I said, this has happened to me several times in Bexley.
Mm-hmm.
What do you? How's your life? How do you feel living in the community now, like as opposed to before that particular incident happened? Like, how do you feel now?
I just started walking again a couple weeks ago, and we went on a walk, and I was just waiting for the moment to see a police officer drive by and to see if he's going to stop and ask us, even with my presence. And I guess on edge, maybe just a little bit. I'm definitely insecure about letting our 7-year-old ride her bike around the block. I would be more than angry if a police officer were to ask her while she was riding her bike if she lived here.
Yeah. What about you, Brianna? Like, how do you feel now?
Like if I walk out in public.
Yeah. How do you feel being in the neighborhood now?
I wouldn't say I'm uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable, but if they were to stop me again and question what I was doing, I would show a lot more tone and aggression. I know that's not the right thing, the right response, but seeing that has happened twice already within the last couple of weeks, the third time I'd definitely be more frustrated, but I feel fine walking through Bexley. If I get asked again, I'll be upset, but...
What about you, Mike? Like, how do you this change anything for you?
Not really, because I've been dealing with this for 53 years of my life.
Right.
It's not, there's a learned behavior. There's certain things you expect. Like when the police get behind me, I do certain things right away.
Yeah.
My radio gets turned down. If it was turned up, I get my ID and everything ready to present. And they drive by. It's just a learned behavior.
Yeah.
So, has anything changed for me? No. Nothing has changed for me, but the anger that I have in me because of what my children have been exposed to. You see, we came to live here because of the great school system and the home resale value, and that it's supposed to be a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's why we came to live here. We didn't expect to be singled out and have to deal with racial profiling.
Yeah. I received an email from a resident, a lady who emailed the chief of police and the mayor in regards to the Facebook forum between the city of Bexley and BMPA. In this email, this resident was frustrated about their lack of culpability around racial profiling and the treatment of black people in Bexley. And she got a response from the chief. I won't read you the entire thing, but I'll read you just a portion of it. In there, he says, "I have spent over 13 years chasing second and third hand stories of racist and discriminatory policing in our community. I only find that most of them are without any victim, enhanced in the retelling over the years, and some of the stories are simply not true or didn't happen in Bexley. What I am interested in is first-hand experiences or racist or discriminatory police interactions in Bexley. Those are rare in this town, but if you have first-hand experiences, please share them with me." Hopefully, he'll get a hold to this video and hear one of the first-hand experiences. But here he says that they are without victim. What are your thoughts about that?
Again, like we said, to get away unscathed is the goal of most people that interact with the police, especially black folks. So it has a tendency to be pushed under the rug. Like my daughter said, she didn't think about any wrongdoing or any victimization until she got home, where she was safe and she could think about, well, I was just walking. That's all I was doing, was walking. And they pulled me over and asked me, interrogated me, if you will.
Brianna, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about these things happening, if they do happen, and if there's no victim? What are your thoughts about that?
It's a difficult issue, and this is Spencer Cahoon. I'm off camera for social distancing reasons. Let me ask you, after this interaction, did you feel more or less welcome in the city of Bexley?
I feel like the residents make me feel comfortable. I had a great experience with some residents approaching a park at Maryland. I think there were 6 adults, 3 women, and 3 men. They made me feel so comfortable. Now when I bring this story up about the cops and being stopped 2 times within 1 week, that's a different situation. So within the community, within the residents that I encounter, I feel fine. But when it's policing that's supposed to be happening, I have to, when I see a cop, I have to look twice. and like Mike said, get everything ready. So, just within the policing, I don't feel as comfortable.
Do you feel like a victim? Were you
I
victimized?
didn't feel like a victim at first, but once I got home, I did feel like a victim. There's been many encounters with the cops. Good ones, nice gestures, smiles, waves, but it took 2 instances for me to not feel as safe.
Were those 2 different police officers?
Yes, we were 2 different officers.
What are your thoughts about those comments, Michelle?
Well, I don't want my children to feel uncomfortable coming back home to visit me. And if my home continues to be in Bexley, I don't want the police officers to target them, profile them, question them, especially since they're good citizens.
So we want to thank you guys for being brave enough to come and talk to us and tell us your story. What we want to do is to make sure with our group is that every person leaves their encounters with police in Bexley with dignity and respect. In most cases, that's all it takes, is for you to feel like unwelcome or in danger one time, and it can change every single thing for you. And we really have to fight to make sure that happens. That happens in Bexley. We know that there is a long history in Bexley as well. Anyone that is denying that is just completely in denial. So again, we want to thank you guys for coming and telling your stories today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for providing the forum.
Spencer, you have anything you want to say?
I just want to echo that. As you've all said, it's uncomfortable to speak about policing because the police have the power. They represent a part of the power of our government. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to come forward and speak about that. And I think we're all hopeful that in so doing, we can help make some change so that other people do not experience this in the future. And that kind of anger you talked about, where the first time, the second time, if I saw the police the third time, I would be more likely to be angry and have an angry response. We don't want anyone to have to be put in that position. And that's not the kind of response that builds up with normal interactions. That's the kind of response that builds up when there's a problem. So thank you for shining some light on that problem.
So we want to thank you guys for, if we have some people here that's watching this video, we want to thank you for watching. And we will be shining a light on these issues more, so stay tuned for those. Like our page, tell your friends to like the BRAIR page. We do also have a petition to put anti-racist, anti-institutional racism language in our city's charter to change the trajectory